what's going on? It's Giga here again. And yes, you did see it in the thumbnail. And
If you didn't see it in the thumbnail, I'll tell you what the thumbnail said.
But today's iteration, or today's theme of our squad builder challenge leading up to FIFA 23 is we are going to try to make the best, the absolute best squad that we can make out of the players that we know so far. Now, this is something that we need a few stipulations on, so I'm going to lay those out real quick. Again, thank you guys for clicking on the video. If you would, please consider liking or subscribing to the channel. I would very much appreciate it. Without further ado, some of the stipulations that we have are: 1, we need to use only gold cards. And I know you're probably like, well, silver cards aren't going to be very good. Really what I mean by that is we're not going to do any icons. We're not using any icons just yet. I want to see the best team that we can make simply from using gold cards. The second stipulation is I'm trying to make everyone have 3 chemistry or full chemistry is really what I'm trying to say. Now that is a little difficult because I don't totally understand how the managers play into things or work with chemistry. So there are probably other ways to make these teams happen, these mega teams. But at least for what I'm doing, I'm trying to just do it simply off of the structure of the team itself. Those are basically the 2 main stipulations. Obviously, we're trying to make it the highest rated squad.
So without further ado,
let's go ahead, let's get into it. And the very first thing that I actually need to do is, I should probably pull up the picture that'll tell me everything I need to know so I don't feel like it. Well, I don't know where it is. Okay, well, I basically know what it is anyway. The first thing that we need to do is we need to use the 3-4-3 formation. That's the first thing. The second thing we need to do is start putting all the players in. So the first player that I think everyone's looking forward to, if they can use them, is none other than Kylian Mbappe. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think everybody knows he's going to be the most broken player in the beginning of FIFA. 91 rated, highest rated. Tied with Lewa and Benzema, I think. So he's just going to be bonkers. I have no doubts that he'll be over 1 million coins in the beginning of the game. And yeah, we'll go from there. Which leads us to our next person who plays right alongside him even in real life, which is Neymar. I think his card's a little worse than last year, but he's still going to be good, of course. And then this Brazilian link is the link that we need in order to really get into the next section of the team, and that's by putting Vinicius Jr. out to the left side here at left mid. I think Vinicius is actually going to be right up there with Mbappe as one of the top or most expensive cards in the game. He just has a different way of, or like his animations are just different. Like he's so hard, especially last year, he was so hard to get off the ball. He was so quick. His finishing was just fine. There's nothing wrong with it, even with 79 shooting this year. I'm sure it'll be just the same way. And so I'm sure lots of people want that card, and I have, again, no doubts that he'll be hundreds of thousands of coins in the very beginning, which will again lead us to our center mid choice first, and that's going to be none other than Valverde. And so Valverde, I think, is really underrated in terms of the overall rating. His overall rating needs to be higher, like 86, 87 rated, probably 86 rated. If you pack this card in the beginning, I promise you he's going to be like 500, 600k or something like that. If you can get your hands on him, get your hands on him. But we're going to go to our center back next, actually, and the first center back we're going to do is one that links perfectly to Vinicius, but that is none other than Eder Militao with 86 pace and 85 defending. He's probably going to be one of, if not the most meta defender in the game, just as a gold card goes. So again, with Valverde, I feel like this triangle here is just going to be like the highest top tier, one of at least the highest top tier triangles that you can attain the first like few weeks of the game. We'll see how all that goes. I think they're all very meta cards, and you know, it's just going to be hard to beat these cards. Going along with that, with the Brazilian links again, and going back to PSG, we're actually going to do Marquinhos as our center back. Now, I've heard rumors that he can actually play CDM, and if he can play CDM as a secondary position, I think that allows for this team to be reworked a little bit, but we're just going to leave it as is just for the time being. You know, we can worry about other iterations later. Leading on with this then, our final center back that we're going to be using is actually going to be Rudiger, who just recently got released in terms of his overall rating. I saw that he was at 87 rated, which personally I thought that was a little too high. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with at center back. He's not going to feel quite like Van Dijk. He'll probably be very similar to like Marquinhos, if anything, but I still think that Militao and Marquinhos are just going to be like the 2 powerhouses of center backs if people can help it. I think Van Dijk is obviously very good, but I don't think that Van Dijk is as easy to link people with. once you get away from just kind of like the back line. Because you could do Van Dijk, Alisson, Trent, Salah, like those sorts of people. If Salah ends up being very meta, then this team could definitely change. Just for the time being, let's go with this. Our goalkeeper, actually, is gonna be where we switch things up. And that is because we're gonna put Manuel Neuer in goal. And you're probably thinking like, wow, okay, this makes just no sense at all. In terms of where we're going with this, we're actually gonna slide into center mid.
We don't need all this.
But we're gonna be putting Leon Goretzka at center mid, who's got all 80 stats except for pace, so he's really got that Hullet gang feel to him. He's gonna be very, very good in the midfield, especially with Valverde. He's gonna be really hard to get past, especially when you've got these other 3 center backs to get past afterwards. But this team is looking really, really good, and it could only get better if you added the one and only the GOAT.
The magician.
I think people probably know who's missing from the team at this point. That's none other than Leo Messi, and I feel like we'd be doing this game a disservice if we didn't put Leo Messi in the team here. And so this is more or less the main structure of what I would think of as the best team that we can make at this point. Obviously, there's still one right wing position left open, and I think this is where the secondary positions, once we find them out, will make things more interesting. At least for now, if you want to make everybody on top chemistry, the person that you would go with is Gnabry here, Serge Gnabry. And so that does put everyone, including Marquinhos there, put everybody on 3, full chemistry, I guess is what I'm saying. Full chemistry. But if people are thinking to themselves like, you know, what could we do with this? And so one of the other options that I was looking at was this new Diaby card that just came out, who I think looks super meta, and he's the only one that doesn't get on chemistry, full chemistry. He's missing one, and so if the managers, the way that I think that they will work, actually do work this way. If there is a French manager that you can use and it does give him that extra chemistry that you need, Diaby, then I think that, okay, I'm done. I obviously have missed something. If it does work out that way, then perfect. If it doesn't, then, you know, you gotta choose who you want at that point. But for what we're looking at right now, I really am just more considering Gnabry to round out the team. Other ways that you could go about this, and I had a lot of trouble because I was trying to just figure out how to get Vinicius and Neymar both in the team. However, I think that if you wanted to take one of them out, then you could rework this by not having Rudiger or Valverde in. However, I also think Valverde and Militao are really good. I think with Goretzka, Neuer, it works well and all that. Gnabry's just the weak link. That's the only thing. And I say that, and he's still one of the better cards in the game. So maybe you guys can tell me what you think. Do you think that there's another player that we should put here that works even better? Do you think that there's a different formation or a different squad altogether that we should be looking at? Curious to know. I love just trying to put these squads together. It's been a fun series so far. We'll keep going with it, and tomorrow we're actually going to be trying to do what I'm calling a step 2 squad, or basically like a 90 to 100,000 coin squad, which builds off one of the previous squads we've already done. The point of that will be to try and show you like this is the progression that you would make after you do a starter squad. But thank you so much. I really appreciate everything that y'all have done to support, and we'll keep going with this. So I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.